Hey, this is Chef Kaz. We're back. I know you've missed us. We had some work to do in the future, but it's been taken care of. Everything is properly aligned. Awesomeness levels are rising. We are going to be making some amazing things, working with lvinformer.com from chefkaz.com. All the castronauts out there, just want to give a big ups, virtual pound. We thank you for tuning into the taste, where you saw what the future looks like in the form of awesomeness. Some people just can't handle it, but that's okay. You can. That's why you're watching right now. Prepare it to be uploaded and downloaded all at the same time with some awesomeness. Today we're going to be making the Chocolate Awesomeness Enabler. Now, if you love chocolate milkshakes or chocolate in general, and you want to have something that's pretty satiating, maybe a nice wrap up to your day or a post-workout shake, this is going to be perfect for you. It's going to have everything from branched-chain amino acids and glutamine to coconut milk to avocado to spinach and arugula to chocolate brown rice protein powder. And really, you're not even going to think that this is something healthy, right? Because Chef Kaz, we make food for awesomeness because healthy is boring. I'm not trying to make you some bland, oh, this is good, and you really don't want to drink it. We want to make something that just blows your mind. We want to expand your mind universe and your palate universe too. So we're going to put this together for you today. We got a lot of different ingredients and also some things from the farmer's market. So if you're a local farmer's market, you can check out that for some of the components that are going to go into this. And we look forward to hearing how you like it. Send us your feedback, chefkaz.com, lvinformer.com. Also check out the Facebook page. Please like the Facebook page, facebook.com/chefkaz. So the first things we're going to put into our drink today are going to be some leafy greens. I like to use spinach. It's just kind of going to give some bulk. It's going to help clear you out, clean out kind of whatever's going on in your digestive system. Help fill you up as well. That of course is fiber. We've talked about that before with the soluble and insoluble fiber. Just going to take that spinach, drop it right in there. You see how it went in? That's not hard to do. I think you can take care of it. Put that container over there. You can also take care of that. Next is going to be some arugula. And this arugula came from the farmer's market. It's got just a lot of potent taste. You could say it's a little bit of spice, but you're not going to notice that so much once it's blended in with everything else. It's going to be a little bit more subdued with the avocado and some of the sweet elements. But what I really like is it provides like an almost umami flavor, almost like a mushroom, or kind of gives you a little bit more boldness, a little more complexity. And find some good quality arugula, because especially stuff like this from a farmer's market is going to taste a lot different than something you're just getting out of a bag from your local supermarket. Next things we're going to put in are some frozen components. That's going to help give it a nice texturization, more of that milkshake kind of cool, thick consistency. First, I've got some frozen sliced strawberries. I've got 2 cups of those. Dump those right in there. And then I've got another 1.5 cups of just ice cubes. Easy enough. And make sure you push all this stuff down because it's going to start to pile up. Next thing is going to be some almond butter. And I'm just going to kind of put a big teaspoon of almond butter in. And the almond butter, or peanut butter if you want to use that. I like almond butter. It's just, I don't know exactly why, to be honest, but almond butter is better for you. Let's just accept that as it is. And that's awesome right there. So the almond butter is going to have a very strong flavor. So you don't want to put too much of it in, because that's going to end up being all you taste. But it goes really well like any Snickers bar or whatever. But the chocolate and peanut butter together are going to taste great. So the next things we're going to add are some elements to create some smoothness and balance out the consistency. So bananas, great of course for flavor, but also helps to thicken it up. And the other thing, and you might not see this very often in a smoothie or in a drink, but is avocado. And avocado is going to also provide some of that thickness that we're looking for, that you might think like, oh, this doesn't taste like a milkshake, but that's really just because the texture's not there. Putting these elements in is going to create some of that smooth texture that you're so used to having a chocolate milkshake that you're not going to miss it at all. So the next things we're going to add are nutritional elements. And these are going to be in there for taste. It's not going to do anything negative to the taste, but it's going to give us some nutritional value that we're looking for. So the first thing is going to be ground flaxseed. And we're grinding the flaxseed because your body basically can't break down a flaxseed in its whole form. and you're not going to be able to extract the essential fatty acids that one of the reasons that we want flaxseed, in addition to it being just incredibly high in fiber, it's something that can make us feel full and also help pass things more easily. So I'm going to use a whole tablespoon, even really like a little bit more than a tablespoon of ground flaxseed. And it's really easy to grind flaxseed. All you need to do is have like a coffee grinder or a spice grinder. It doesn't take long at all. Next, I'm going to add some branched chain amino acid and glutamine powder, and the reason I'm putting this in there is this is going to be your post-workout shake. This is going to help with recovery. This is going to help eliminate some of that muscle soreness, shorten the time that you need to recover between workouts. So if you just worked out on Monday, by Thursday you're going to be feeling great and have no lingering soreness from your first workout. So you can shorten the time between sessions of getting back in the gym. So I'm just going to pop that in there, and I've got 1 teaspoon of glutamine powder and 1 teaspoon of branched chain amino acids. Next thing I'm going to be adding is one of my favorite products. It's Sun Warrior Classic Raw Vegan Protein Powder, and this is the chocolate one. And the reason I like this is I always had difficulty digesting protein powders. They made me gassy, and I know that's awesome to hear about. And they made me feel bloated, and it was like drinking concrete. You know, I'm getting my protein from it, of course, but I would feel like I couldn't put anything else in my body for 2 or 3 hours, and I was walking around with like just carrying cinder blocks in my stomach. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that feeling. It does not help with my idea of life performance. So I, for years, have been looking for a protein powder that's easy to digest, that's really clean feeling, and doesn't leaving trails of non-awesomeness going around for people to experience. Just saying. We all know, anyone who's ever drank or eat protein powder or eaten a protein bar knows that to be the case. And this one has just been really easy for me to use, clean. The other thing I like about it is a lot of times when you put the protein powders in your blender and you blend them all together, it gets so thick that it's almost undrinkable. I don't know what that chemical reaction is, but this Sun Warrior stuff does not have that same effect. You can blend it and it stays thin, and I love that. So I'm just going to pour that right in there now too. And then I'm going to be using another Sun Warrior product, and this is their Liquid Light. It's a natural fulvic acid mineral complex, and I'm putting this in there, again, to speed recovery, to put my body in its optimal state, and just function in the best way that I know how, because I want to be in awesomeness all the time, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it. Do you understand what's happening right now? So I'm going to pour that in there. These are nice little instant packets. I'm just going to get all the rest of that over there. That's how you do it in the future. The one other nutritional component I really like are chia seeds, and you can see I just poured these into a tall bottle to make them easily dispensable. Chia seeds you actually don't need to grind to ascertain their utilization, utilize their best properties. So I'm going to just pour about a big tablespoon in there. And the other thing I like about chia seeds, and it might take some getting used to, is it adds a little bit of texture to your smoothie or your blend or your drink. And I like that kind of grittiness. If you like more of a creamy peanut butter, you might not want to put the chia seeds in, or you might want to grind them up. But if you prefer a crunchy peanut butter, I love crunchy peanut butter or crunchy almond butter. This is crunchy almond butter that I use as well. And it just kind of gives you a little bit of texture, and that makes you feel like you're having something more than just a drink. A lot of people don't find their smoothies to be satiating because there's no texture in them. So that's another good reason that you can use chia seeds. We are then going to add some coconut sugar. And what I like about this, and this is from another one of my favorite brands, Nativa's Naturals, and they make some really good products as well. I'm a big fan of their coconut sugar and a couple other things I'm going to show you in just a second here. But the reason I use this is to sweeten it up a little bit. It might not be sweet enough with all the different things we put in. And I'm going to add about 1.5 tablespoons of this. And this is actually not a non-high glycemic sugar. And what that means is it's not going to be converted into sugar in your bloodstream quite as quickly as a regular sugar or a honey or even an agave. And that's going to result in you having fewer crashes, fewer kind of spikes in your energy level, and then your crash as your blood sugar tends to oscillate depending on the sweeteners that you're using. Next thing is going to be some cacao nibs, and I'm going to use cacao nibs and then cacao powder. And the cacao nibs, you know, on their own, they're a little bit bitter. But that's just the nature of cacao. So don't put too much of it in. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon. But the reason I like it is putting those in, it makes it almost like a chocolate chip smoothie. and those little bites of cacao you get mixed in with everything else have a really nice effect. And then the last thing is just the Nativas Naturals raw cacao powder, and I'm going to put a tablespoon of that in, a little bit less actually than a tablespoon. And the reason I'm putting this in is just to increase that chocolatey flavor. Usually protein powders on their own are not going to create enough of the chocolatey taste to really make you feel like this is a great chocolate shake. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of that cacao powder to produce some of that optimal chocolate optimization. The last element is of course the liquid, and I'm going to use a combination of coconut milk and almond milk for our liquid. So this, keep in mind, this drink that we're making today is completely vegan. So this is if you ever wanted to try vegan, you're like, oh, I'm not going to get enough protein. Well, this has like 1,000 grams of protein. That's enough for 7 lifetimes. That's not true. Don't go by any of those nutritional facts I just said. But it does have probably about 50 grams of protein in it between the avocado, the protein powder, the coconut milk, the almond milk, and all the other awesomeness that I added in there that you saw and experienced in your life. So I'm going to pour these in, and I'm doing half of an original coconut milk and half of a vanilla. And I always look for the amount of content in my drink compared to how much liquid I put in. And I usually use about 1/8 to 1/10 of liquid to components ratio, because once this is all blended together, I don't want it to be too thin, but I also of course don't want it to be too thick. You can always add in more liquid if need be. And the last thing I'm going to add in here is some almond milk. The reason I add almond milk and coconut milk, I faked you out there, I was like, I'm going to pour it in, but then I didn't pour it in. The reason I add both is because the coconut milk tends to be a little bit heavier, thicker, and just more dense. So I want to thin it out just a little bit with the almond milk. That's going to provide a nice balance with the liquids, and the overall consistency is going to be improved. And I can add in more almond milk or more coconut milk as need be. So we've got our lid on, we've got all our components in there. Make sure you have a pretty good high-powered blender. I do love the Ninja blender. It is my personal favorite, not only because it's called a Ninja, but that certainly doesn't hurt. And I've talked about this before, but it's intelligent design. Now let's go over all the things we've got in here. So from the top, spinach, arugula from the farmer's market. Then we put in some avocado, banana, almond butter, frozen strawberries, ice, branched chain amino acid powder, and glutamine powder. We've got our Sun Warrior chocolate raw vegan protein powder. We have our ground flaxseed, our chia seeds, as well as the Nativas Naturals cacao nibs, cacao powder, and coconut sugar. Then we put in our liquids, which were our original and vanilla coconut milk. Don't feel like you need to use both. That's just, I just do that for flavor complexity. You can use one or the other. And then finally our almond milk. I think that covers it. If I forgot anything, you can email me at chefkaz@chefkaz.com and tell me that I'm a bad and forgetful person. But I will forget to respond to your email. So I'm going to hit crush, which is my preferred method of doing things, just crushing it. And I'm going to hit this. First I'm going to hit power because that's how you turn the blender on. So when you've got a nice, smooth, even consistency, you might still see some chunks of stuff in there. And again, that might be just some texture that you add, but you're really not going to taste it. And some people are like, oh, but it's green. That can't be a chocolate shake. I'm telling you, don't think about that. You're not going to taste the green stuff, but it still gets into your body, and that's what we're aiming for. We want to get all the awesomeness in without sacrificing any of the flavor. Remember, Chef Kaz is the intersection of nutrition and flavor. Food for awesomeness. I should just keep tapping that thing and making noises with it. So have a nice, sexy little glass ready. I like to have a straw. Drinking things through a straw is always kind of brings me back to being a little kid. And sexiness in a glass right there. That is the Chocolate Awesomeness Engaging Smoothie. Do it. Eat it. Drink it. Excrete awesome. This has been Chef Kaz, chefkaz.com, for lvinformer.com, coming to you live from the future. This just happened in your life right now. Castronauts out, virtual pound.